All right, here we are. Welcome everybody for another Project Healing Waters fly fishing special. Tonight's dedicated to the participants of the St. Cloud program of Project Healing Waters fly fishing. Before this whole coronavirus, we met each and every week at the St. Cloud VA hospital, and we tied flies. We went fishing. We had a good old time. Well, we haven't been able to do that in a while, but here we are. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, Frank. Looks like Frank was the first one to join us in the house tonight. I should probably get my iPod set up so I can track and see what is going on in the chat. I'm gonna encourage everybody to check in on the chat. Let's chat it up in the chat. I was sitting there, I was thinking about it earlier today, and well, the chat's kind of quiet while we're tying flies, but we'll get there. YouTube wants me to update. Sorry, not today. I'll find my own YouTube channel. So what a difference a week makes, huh? Seems like the world changes from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. But here we are. We're all here together. We're all here today, and I'm trying to pull up my chat on my channel. Let's go. It's like for whatever reason it doesn't know that I'm live. Am I live? I know I'm live. It says I'm live. It says I got 4 people watching. Oh, what a day. I've been pretty busy working on my little blue inflatable boat. Unable to connect to chat. Please try later. I hope this internet stream works. I think it may be frozen. I'm not sure. The problem with all this technology is, I've got like 4 different windows up and running, and just trying to make sure everything is streaming, and I can't confirm. Other than one howdy from Frank. Okay. So I got confirmation that I am live. Alright, well, let's go ahead and slide over to the bench. There we are. We'll slide over to the bench, and we're going to attempt some some streamers called the Flash Dancer. And I looked at one picture. Not much opportunity to really prepare for the day. Well, I did. I'm just a lazy guy. My brain is going 1,000 miles an hour, high speed and low gear, but we're doing what we can. All right. So, this is what's called a flash dancer. It's a variation of it, I guess, I suppose. We're going to tie a few of these up because I don't have any of these in my box. I have seen them tied. I've watched a couple of videos earlier this afternoon. But for the most part, this is kind of more or less, for lack of better terms, my first attempt at running through this. So at least in recent, first time this year, first time in 2020. So we got our size to our good old Mustad 3366, and we're just going to kind of plug our way through. I'm using a 140 denier flat wax. I'm using the white thread. Alright, let's go ahead and start this in eye's length behind the eye. Aye, aye. And we'll just wrap towards the back. Take a pause for the cause and trim off that tag end. Alright. So we'll just wrap a nice thread base all the way to the rear. Pretty typical stuff. We're going to park that right at our main tie-in point, approximately between the tip of the hook and the tip of the barb. So coming up soon, I'm going to be hopping on the phone and reaching out to all the participants to give everybody an update in regards to the rod building competition. So I'll go in all the details, but I should have some rods back here, hopefully in the mail. All right. So speaking of mail, speaking of tail, I'm gonna use some red marabou, and what I like to do when I use marabou for a tail, I'm just gonna come all the way to the tip. And I'm just going to snip off the stem and cut off the tip of that marabou. Fold that all together. And let's measure out 1 hook's length. 1 hook's length for our tail. And we'll just go ahead and take a soft wrap back there. Capture that in nice and tight. I'm just going to go ahead and trim that all off, just like that. Bum, bum, bum. So how's everybody's week going? It's been, 7 days since we've last chatted. Alright, we're going to tie in our body. And for our body, I got some of this stuff here. This is called Frizzle Chenille Medium UV Pearl. So this has got some sparkle to it. It's nice and light and white. That's all one big piece. So let's go ahead and just strip off some of the fibers at the end. So who remembers the fly that we tied last week? That big old minnow. Big golden minnow. Well, I got out on the river. Wouldn't you know it, they caught fish. Well, strip off about a birthday candle's wick. And let's just lash that in. I'm going to take a couple of soft wraps. I'm going to reach down and I'm going to grab those 2 little threads. I'll pull those forward. And cinch up the chenille material right up to where our thread is. And we can just lock that in. Excellent, hey. Alright, so we're going to end up with a pretty big head on this. This is almost like a muddler head. We'll just go ahead and wrap our thread forward. Right at about that 1/3, 2/3 point. I think that's going to be it for me. And this is just a super simple procedure. We'll just palmer this forward with touching wraps. Building up our little frizzle body. Right now the Mississippi River level is just about rock bottom. It's kind of weird wading around in the Beaver Islands, getting to the channels, and things really seem dry. So I just try to mind my step, pay attention to where I'm going, and I'm drawing a mental map of the river bottom. Just trying to keep an eye out for if it's any size hole now, you know it's just going to be a deep pocket later. That's one of the things I've been kind of keeping my eye open for. So there we go. We got our nice little frizzle body. I suppose any kind of chenille would do. But we're going to just kind of get this as close as I can to the recipe. So I guess I should have, in the description, called this a variation. And you know what? I think after this video is done, this live stream, we're going to go back and edit that. So this is we're going to call this officially a, what is this called? The Flash Dancer Variation. So there's our body. Alright, got that thread parked at our 1/3, 2/3 position. And let's grab some flash. The original recipe that I was looking at earlier called for a gold Flashaboo. However, I have this gold Northern Lights flash. Kind of similar, kind of different. So I think that's why we're going to go with this is a variation. So I'm going to just go ahead and pick off about half as much as I need. And we're going to just trim that off. This is kind of like an orangish gold color, at least for this one. You guys know how I love to multiply by dividing. Trim off those loops. Alright, I'm going to measure my flash out so it's right at about the same length as that tail, and look at that, we're right at about our halfway point. So watch this. We're going to use our good old lift and lower method. Set that right on top. A couple of wraps, and then we'll just fold that back. Just like that. So we got a little puff of flash. That might be a little bit too, feels like that's too much. So what I'm going to do, I almost feel like that's twice as much as what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to untie. Don't tell anybody we're untying flies. Suppose I could just trim, but there we go. We took about half as much off. We'll make sure that stays right on top. I like that. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Alright, what is next? Next, we need some deer hair. And I was looking for a particular batch of hair. Oh, there we go. Spinning hair. So what we're looking for is a deer body hair. And we're looking for something with some flair. Let's see. This looks pretty good. And we're looking for it to flare out and be hollow and have some body. We're looking for I think this is going to be it right here. What do I got in the bag here? So this looks like it says Rocky Mountain Dubbing. It says deer done. I don't know. Looks like some deer hair to me. We'll give this a try, see how this works out. I think that'll be just fine. So I'm going to use my, what I like to do is I like to take my bodkin and just kind of work and separate where I'm going to trim off that hair. This is obviously way larger of a clump than what I need, so before I trim off, I'll just grab what I need and let the rest go. As far as how much hair, it feels like I'm grabbing that proverbial pencil's width. It should feel like a skinny little pencil almost. Alright, so we're going to grab it by the tip, so we're going to start clearing this out. What I like to do is I like to grab those tips and just give that just a little bit of a twist. Use a brush and or comb if you have. Give that a nice little clean. Alright, so for this I want to use my hair stacker because I want to line up those tips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go tips down in that hair stacker. I got my nice big hair stacker for this. Have I ever mentioned that you should clean out your hair stacker before you throw a clump of hair in there? Because there might be a piece of peacock herb. Alright, so I've got the tips. And I'm just going to line up the tips right with the length of the body. Right? That's going to be my little wing. I'm going to do one soft wrap to capture it, let it flare out. And then I'm just going to kind of work my way through. Just like that. Alright. Let's do that again. Let's grab another clump of deer hair. Kind of like this dun gray. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Looks like we got 7 people tuned in. Let's do roll call. Who do we got in the house tonight? Let's just to give everybody something to talk about. Let's do obviously we were going to see who you are because we see your name, but just give a shout out to wherever you're watching from and what's for dinner tonight. We'll keep it interesting. What's for dinner tonight, everybody? I'm going to have some leftover lasagna, easy bake, kind of like a craft dinner. Good old leftovers. Another little bit of deer hair. Alright, let's go ahead. Just like before, I'm going to grab it by the tips. We're going to clean out all the junk. All the under fur. Cannot over clean. Alright. What we do is we find our tips. We're not going to stack this. Just going to trim those tips off. Alright, we're going to do a little spun deer hair, so I'm going to right about that halfway point. One soft wrap, 2. Once that's together, then I'll just spin it. And once it's done spinning, it's done spinning. Use your pen, a little pen tube. And I have what's called a hair packer. It's kind of like a clippers, but it has a little hole. You can see that little hole there. I'm going to go right over there. I'm just going to give that a little compression back. Because I'm going to do that once more, right where it's at. because I want a little dense head. Alright, so let's see. Yep, Jessica Husingfeld, she says, she's here! Outstanding. Hello. Hello there. Ouch. Don't drop your scissors in your lap. That's never good. So I'm going to go one more small clump of deer here. And this is a lot of fun to do. Spinning of deer hair and stuff like that. Your first dozen or so are going to come out not looking so hot, but that's not the point. The point is that we get going on this. So, Joe, good evening. Joe says no fish yet. Well, it's kind of tough out there. So far I've been able to hook up on just a couple of smallmouth and pike. I was out earlier today, wasting time. Not really wasting time, killing some time. Enjoying the afternoon, the sunshine, the heat. Went out to my little secret lake, practice pond, and caught some sunnies and crappie and some small bass. Some small largemouth. Alright. I'm going to set my little clump like this. 1, 2, and as we spin, we get number 3. Just like that. Ken, good evening. Good evening, Ken. From Japan. One of my inspirers from Japan. I've really been quite interested in everything that's been fishing related in Japan. Alright. Tenkara fishing specifically. Let's go ahead and do our whip finish. This can be kind of tricky sometimes. Once you can get that first one in there, here we go. And just like that. Alright, so we're gonna do it with the basic. We'll do it with the basic setup first. Kind of no special tools, and then we're gonna pull out some specialty tools for this. I really go bananas, but we're gonna show you what we can get away with just a pair of scissors. Yeah, so big update. I'm going to be calling everybody in the next couple of days, reaching out to all my St. Cloud participants to give them an update as to what's going on with the fly rod building competition. Alright, let's do this with our scissors. Let's go with these. These ones will do it. Alright. So I suppose you could go a couple of different directions with this. I'm going to go with, I'm going to try to go for a bullet head. But first things first, I just kind of have to start trimming some of this extra back. And what's nice is that first clump. Let's go ahead and just separate this out a little bit. So there's just kind of the basic. It's right now it's at hot mess status. So we're gonna just keep trimming this down, and I'm gonna get this down to where I have this nice little bullet head or cone. So to start off, I just kind of focus on this back half and just make sure I gotta get that round. Somewhere in the mix I have lost or misplaced my little hair clip, because my little hair clip would just be absolutely a handy little tool to have right here right now, but it's gone. And just like your barber or stylist, wherever you go, you're going to want to take your time and be careful, because once you cut the hair off, that's it. There's no takesy backsies on this. I'm going to turn this towards me just a little bit. And this is a surface minnow, and this head on it should just kind of help keep everything afloat. And as you strip it, it should just kind of dive down a little bit. Just like trimming the whiskers back. Sharp scissors. Sharp scissors is what really makes a difference with this. Alright. I think that's going to be my first attempt here at a flash dancer. First attempt in quite some time. Alright, just a couple more steps. This is one of those things that it's like you can really accidentally get just a little too carried away. And if I made this look easy, it is not. Why scissors instead of a razor blade? Well, that's a good question. We will be moving on to a razor blade for our next one. I just wanted to show, illustrate a couple of methods. So yeah, this is kind of the whack at it with scissor method. You know, I think maybe on our next one, my next batch, I'm going to go just a little bit more with our collar wing, and I like our amount of flash, and I like it. It looks like a Christmas mouse. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Questions, comments, what's going on, everybody? Let's go ahead and flip the camera over. Let's slide over here and just take a pause for the cause. I'm drinking a Canada Dry tonight. Just not in the mood for a coffee. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there. Gives me a second to read the chat. Alright, so Jessica says hi and welcome. And okay, so Ellen Siobhan is actually Joe Siobhan. We know this because I know this. And then Richard asked, why are we using scissors instead of a razor blade? We covered that. And then Steve says it looks like a Christmas mouse. Well, you know, to be fair, throw this sucker in the water, and it's a surface, kind of a surface streamer. It's gonna kind of keep floating around the top and bounce around, and I think with that red in there, I think this looks pretty good. What do you think? I think we should just jump right to it and tie another one. Let's do it. We'll turn this camera off. How about one in all chartreuse except the red marabou tail? What do you mean there, Mr. Dave? An all chartreuse. So a chartreuse. I don't have any of the chartreuse. Like chartreuse deer hair and chartreuse this and chartreuse that. Everything chartreuse? Because if it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. I think I have some chartreuse. Yeah, let's do one with some chartreuse. I'll do it. I got chartreuse, except red marabou tail. So are you saying chartreuse in red or just do a chartreuse tail? Because we could easily do that. Well, let's get a little chartreuse tail. I suppose I could probably... I don't have any for whatever reason, Pro Marker doesn't... I have not been able to find a chartreuse Pro Marker. But we might be able to kind of add a little yellow to that. Alright, let's get our hook back out. Same old standard hook, 3366 size 2. And you could easily go with a longer shank hook, I suppose. Let's go ahead and start our thread. Eyes length behind the eye. Aye. Just trim off that tag end. Right there. Right at our main tie-in point. Let's go ahead and grab our marabou. I'm just going to give that a little trim right there. Measure that out 1 hook's length. We'll tie that in on the back end. You know what, I'm not going to scrap all that because I think that's going to be our next fly right there, right on the side. Yellow and lime. Okay, I'm going to have to get some lime. There you go, folks. Pro tip. Make chartreuse, yellow and lime. Makes sense. Makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Thanks, Dave. This is why I am so glad we have wonderful people like Dave to chime in and share the wisdom. All right. This is a medium frizzle. What is it? Frizzle chenille medium UV pearl. Let's go ahead and do what we do best. We'll prepare that by just stripping off some of the fuzz. About an 1/8 inch. Think of a birthday candle wick. We'll tie that in. 1 soft wrap to capture it. I'm going to give it another wrap, and I'm just going to give that a little tug forward. Really cinch that up in there. That's just kind of a little added bonus step. Kind of a little added redundancy. Tying that tag in, and we'll take this up to our 1/3, 2/3 point, where we can take touching wraps with our chenille. And as I wrap, I really try to not capture and trap chenille material, keeping it folded up and out. Otherwise we're going to have a big bulky bulk. Mr. Bulky. I think I am going to hit this with a yellow marker after I get this all secured on here, before I tie on our flash. Iowa is in the house. Good evening, Iowa. Good evening, Dale. Thanks for tuning in, man. Good to see you. This week has gone by so fast. This last weekend was my 16-year wedding anniversary, and trying to celebrate that with all the happenings in our world. Everything just kind of frizzled out. But we're here today, and we're moving forward. That's all we can do. Trim that off nice and close. There we go. Okay. That's a nice little frizzle body. Alright, so I just have a yellow pro marker, and let's just see what happens here. Ooh, that actually takes that color pretty well. It's kind of the bonus of tying with white material. You can add your own. Now, how long that yellow will hold, not sure. I have a little touch of olive. I wonder what this olive, if I do a little bit of that yellow and olive. Nope, that's not going to quite chartreuse it up. We'll leave it at that yeller. Okay, so we need flash. No kidding, there we were. Alright, again, this is a gold Northern Lights flash. This is from the Fly Tyers dungeon. Oh wait, I already have a piece. Haha. Remember earlier at the first one we tied and I said that's too much? Well, here's that piece. We already cut it in half and it's already basically pre-measured. We'll do that lift and lower, park that right on top. Couple of wraps, then we'll just fold that back. I like that. Alright, who's ready to do some deer hair? I don't like this color. Alright, we're gonna take out our pencil's worth. And we're gonna give it a good clean. Where's my scissors? Ouch, ouch. The scissors are sharp. In fact, they're razor sharp. Alright, so here's our clump. Hold it by the tips, give it a little pinch, and we'll start cleaning that out. Alright, so this first stack we do want to stack our tips. Clean out the junk in the hair stacker. I got some remnants of some other stuff fell in there. I haven't stacked anything in this hair stacker in a while, but here we are. And that failed. Let's try that again. I think I need to get some anti-static action in this. Here we go. We're getting there. All right. Set that on top. 1, 2, and then I start pulling up. And I'm not letting it spin. I'm not spinning this first batch. Work my thread right through it. There we go. Because we want our collar, our little wing, to stay up top. Alright, let's find I really wish I could find my little hair clip. That would make me so happy right now. Uh-oh. Well, because it's just like this, but littler for the little flies. Oh well. We'll just chomp off more deer hair and just drive on. Drive on. Alright, let's go ahead and grab another clump. What's nice about this next clump is we don't need it to be stacked. We just need it cleaned. I'll just grab by the tips. And look at that. You know what I could do, maybe for our next one, kind of going down this rabbit hole, is we might be able to check and see if we have some, might have some dyed deer hair. We'll see what we can do with that. We'll trim off those tips. And that's it. Once it's done spinning, just going to work our thread forward. And you know what? I don't think I have much of an option. I think we're already right there. I think we could spend some time packing that, but I don't think we're going to go too bananas. Alright, let's just whip finish while we got it going good. Alright. So now we're going to play with some razor blades. We're going to be oh so careful. Caution, caution, caution. Razor blades are extremely sharp. They will cut you. You will bleed and it will hurt. So you need to take extreme caution when messing around with these razor blades. If I cut myself, I don't know. It won't be the first time. Alright, so I have this handy little tool. So what you can do is just grab it like this and give it a flex if you desire a flex. But to keep my precious little digits away from harm's way, here we go. So now we can trim without any kind of immediate risk of cutting our fingers off. Give that a nice little arch. All right. Just like that. Get in there nice and tight. Boy, that came out real nice, especially on this side. Alright, we'll carefully set that off to the side, where I won't accidentally grab it and knock it over and try to reach for it and cut myself. We'll just come in with our scissors and give it a nice little clean up. So I think we need, moving forward, to constantly continuing our improvements. I need to get my collar. I need a little bit more of a collar. I need to let it flare a little bit more, which is what we're going to do on our next one. There we go. That's kind of a lemon lime. We're going to get one more out of this. Let me check my stash. Dyed deer body hair. And I think we are in luck. So it's going to be interesting. I do have some chartreuse. Let's see, where are we at? We're at 1853. Let me take a quick pause. I want everybody to go ahead and chat amongst yourselves. Let's go ahead and just throw one of these up here for now, just so we don't have a blank screen. Go ahead and pop this over, transition over, and check the chat one last time because I need to take a quick pause. I need to stretch my back So let's go ahead and discuss in the chat. Let's get some ideas as to what pattern we should possibly look at thinking about tying next week moving forward. So go ahead and leave an idea or two in the chat. I'm going to take a quick pause, and you guys stay tuned. All right, be right back, folks. As I like to say, you guys stay Beethoven, I'll be Bach. And here we are. I am Bach. So you guys must be Beethoven. Yeah, I know. Lame. But let's go ahead and tie another one or two. Yeah, definitely need to get a little bit more collar. A little bit more all the way around. Because, yeah, we got that just kind of up there. I want that to flare. And I actually like sometimes doing just the flat bottoms. I like those flat bottom girls. Oh, it's fat bottom girls. No, wait, just kidding. Okay. How's everybody doing? How's everybody hanging in there? We got the Dirty Dozen tuned in. What's going on? Alright, let's go ahead and do this. Start our thread up front. We'll lay a little thread base. Alright, watch that tip. Avoid the tip of the hook. You know, with all these light greens, maybe we'll go with our black background. Might be a little bit too bright. You guys let me know. Alright, because I think with that contrast. Alright, so here we are. We got our marabou. We'll get to that cut section. Just going to line up the tips and give that a pull. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more. So I'm just going to go to this side of that marabou. And this is just basically using the most of that feather. So how do we feel about that yellowing of the chenille? I might just keep this one white, but I do like that yellow. I can always add the yellow after the fact, I suppose, or at least kind of knock it down a notch. Alright, let's try this. Nice and close. I was quite excited when I got out on the river and I threw last week's fly I got a nice pike on it. That little synthetic minnow. A lot of fun. Alright. Let's go ahead and secure this. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to step up the game. We're going to switch our colors. I've got some chartreuse flash. It's a chartreuse and silver blend. Same as before. About that halfway point. Not conveniently, it just happens to take our length right to the end. Alright. So, oh yeah, we're gonna do our different colored dyed hair. Well, that's not it. That's not it. There it is. Alright, so I don't think I've actually have tied with this yet. I did get this in a batch of material over Christmas. So if my dad's watching, he's got a batch about matching this half. I know we're zoomed in kind of a bit, but let's go ahead and we'll just start grabbing a clump of hair. We're gonna grab that proverbial pencil's size. This is kind of a primo supremo. Look at it fly. Just flying all over the place. What we're doing is we're cleaning out all the underfur and the little broken hairs. Here we have it. Hair stacker, where'd you go? Tips down, just like that. I guess the one thing that's missing from this fly is some hackle. That's nice. that flare out. Here we go. Let's do that again. We'll add another clump of hair. I like this chartreuse. Dave, I think this is going to be a hot one. He says chartreuse, and we go chartreuse. Alright, trim off her hair nice and close to the hide. And what do you think we're going to do next? Clean it. It's getting everywhere. Okay, so we'll keep those butt sections relatively lined up. And we'll trim off the tips. Good night. I think we're probably just going to get one spin out of this. Ho, ho, ho. Says Santa Claus. In fact, I think I'm just going to go ahead and whip finish that there. Go ahead and trim that off nice and close. We got deer hair fuzz flying everywhere. Alright, let's find our razor blade. And we'll try this again. And the trick is a sharp blade. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause there. I'm going to flip this blade around just to give myself a nice fresh edge. Boy, I tell you what, this little razor blade tool holder is worth every nickel. Just a couple more stray random ones. We know what to do with those. Say good night. Say hello to my little friend. Okay. Kind of looks like a little green goblin. Here we go. What do you think? It needs to be on a longer shank hook, I think. Not to brag, but I think that'll catch a fish. You know I'm going to throw this out there this week. What do you think? We got 9 in the house still. Now, just quick question. What do we like background-wise? What's a little bit easier for you guys to see on your screens at home? Black or green? Black or green screen? Because I can see it. I got all the light in the world. I don't know. Gulp, 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 gulp. Alrighty. Well, I think we got time to knock a few more out. I think we might add a little yellow on this next one. Let's do that. Alright, let's do... at least one more. Boy, we got deer here everywhere. Making a mess. But that's alright. I really don't mind that messy of a bitch. It's when I get 5 or 6 flies projects worth of material just sitting out. Bada boom, bada bing. Now, what did I read here, Dave? Good colors on that one. Yes, 3x hook would work. Yes. I don't think I have anything handy on the surface level that's a 3x. Let's do one with a red tail and everything else. I think that's what you meant previously, Mr. Dave. This marabou is about the end of the bottom, end of the bag. But we got a little bit of fluff there. That poor sad feather. And then this little section right here. And I think that's going to be us. Let's go hook's length. Red and white always work well with pike. You know, that's the thing. These dang gum pike. I'm sitting here trying to catch myself a bass. And these pike, they come up and like saying, "Hey, let me smash that, cut your line." Oh well. Here we go. Keep it nice and tight to the shank of the hook. Slack as evil. I want to catch a gar. That's what I want to catch. Those ancient looking dinosaur ugly mugs. 4.5 foot long and weighs a pound. What are those? What is it? How does a gar fight? What's the tug on a gar? I know you you just have to throw like a chunk of rope out, and they grab it and tangle their teeth up. There we go. And now it's yellow. And I was thinking maybe I could just do one little olive bar in there, maybe. Now see, with that much light or that much contrast in that background, I think I like the green better. I'm gonna have to put that out there, see what everybody thinks. Alright. Do we want to go gold or chartreuse flash? Or both? Let's do both. I'll just grab a few strands of the gold. Uh-oh, hit the camera. I like that. That works out pretty good. So the Gar have good fights. They have it of spitting hooks right as you get them to the surface. Oh man, that's a bummer. Let's grab our clump of deal here. Bodkin down. Alright, I'm going with that chartreuse deer hair again. I'm just trying to grab a pencil's worth. Not quite a pencil's worth. A skinny pencil's worth. But anywho, we're gonna just grab our tips, get rid of that junk. Alright, hair stacker. Forgot about that microphone. Tips down. Did anybody else grow up watching a cooking show called Yen Can Cook? Yen can cook and so can you. And he would take his knife and he would always go. I don't know. Maybe you didn't grow up watching it, but I grew up watching it. Maybe you just watched it. One last chance to clean that out. Alright, and as I'm setting that on top, I'm letting it kind of roll to the sides. On the sides. Nice, good amount of flare. We'll work our way through that a wee little bit. Excellent. We'll do one more round. So what did we come up with for what do we want to tie next week? Any suggestions? Any requests? I mean, it's kind of silly to go back and do something we've already tied, especially if we just tied it recently. Has anybody been watching any of the other Project Healing Water live streams? Questions? I don't know. Boy, that'd make a nice little dub. Okay, now remember for this next stack, we want the tip or the butt section because that's gonna give us the most flare. Trim off the tips. Oh no! Oh, pickles. The Adams Dry Fly. So is that a request for an evening of Adams Dry Flies? Because we do have the Adams Dry Fly as part of the hairline dubbing video series. We could absolutely do an evening of dry flies. Just trying to salvage this here. Try this again. And Adam's parachute dry. Alright, you know what? we'll do some dry flies. We'll do some regulars. We'll do some parachutes. We'll even do a reverse parachute. How about that? Now the only downside to the small flies is it's harder to capture on camera. But if y'all are willing, so am I. We'll do Adams, we'll do parachute Adams. Alright, let's get our deer here. And try this again. Give it a nice clean. Because if you don't clean all the junk out, then it doesn't give it much to... all the compression is taken up by the junk. Give this bottom a little spin, counterclockwise. I also have, where's my other hair packer? There it is. I forgot this. Nice and tight. Boy, this is like the combination of all of them put together. Let's get this to a razor blade, I presume. I might need to switch my blade around. See, by having those longer hairs at the very back, it gives me a visual as to how much further back I gotta trim. I think that might have been my broken thread sticking out. Yeah, buddy. It's like trimming little whiskers. Little whiskers. Little oopsies. Alright. Now we'll just clean this up back here. Uh-oh. I think if I was a barber, I would have said, whoops. Maybe. I think this is all right. That little razor blade tool is the bee's knees. Took me a while to get one, but well, what do you think? Ah, Jiminy Christmas. That's smarts. Oh, thanks, Jess. All right. I like that. Hop over here for a quick second. All right. I'm really liking that yellow. I can see what's going on with this one. Mr. Dave, Mr. Coleman, thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, I need to get myself a lime green marker next. That way I'll get my chartreuse. Alright, so we are winding down. Got about 15 minutes, about 20 minutes to go. I think we should tie one more. I think so. Yep. Sometimes in between flies, it's always good for me to just kind of step back away from the bench, roll away, relax my shoulders. Because believe me, folks, it's kind of a workout reaching over that camera. Video production is not easy, but it's worth it. We do it for you guys. Let's just looking outside. We got. I love the summer sun. I love how it stays sunny for so long throughout the day. I don't know. I might talk myself into a late night bonfire. I don't know. Questions, comments, critiques, complaints. Got a complaint? Keep it to yourself. I know what. Just kidding. Flash Dancer. I think that was one of Kristen's favorite patterns, the Flash Dancer. Flash Dancer or the Dirty Hippie? You don't think we already did the Dirty Hippie? Yeah, we did it. We did it. The Dirty Hippie a few weeks ago. All right, here we go. Just kind of brushing back all this hair. Let's just drop the camera just real quick. Look at all that. It is a hot mess. Where are we at? Thread. Got this little junk red feather. We're going to use it. We're going to just toss it in there. Forget that it was ever a crappy feather. 'Cause sometimes that's what you got to do. This one's actually going to be a little bit shorter. Not quite a hook's length. That'll be alright. We're tying the fly. We're gonna fish the fly. And they don't have to know. I guess one thing I do like about this chenille is how well it does take that color. It just slurped it right in. Right about there. flash, because it can't be a flash dancer without the flash. I suppose. Oh wait, I wanted to add the yellow. I like the yellow body with the red tail. So what's been your favorite color combination of this evening so far? We have a chartreuse and white and red, and I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Where'd our flash go? There it is. Nice little flashy wing. And now let's get our chartreuse collar and head. Alright, tips forward, or down. That right about there. Let it wrap around a little ways. Get our fancy tool. Push that hair back. Now this looks like we might have room for two. 2 rounds of hail. That's what we're going to do it. think we might run into just a little bit of overtime here tonight. I really don't foresee myself finishing this in 6 minutes. But you never know. Yeah, we got room for one little more stacker here. There you have it. Well, we got that up there nice and tight. I think that stayed. Just in case it didn't, I'll throw 1/2 inch in there. Alright, we are on our final haircut. And for my final haircut, it may seem a little ridiculous, but I'm going to throw a new blade in. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a haircut. Good luck. Oh wait, before we start trimming, it's best to just kind of fluff that out. Here we go. Just take your time. Can't stress that enough. Well, I think that is going to be that. I think that's my favorite one. Last one of the evening. Well, I think we're going to just kind of wrap it up there. We're went into a little bit of overtime. But here we are. It's that time of the evening. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, next week we're going to do parachute atoms, regular atoms. I need to write this down. Oh yeah, there's we are last week. Flash dancer. We're going to do atoms. Various atoms. Alright, so we're going to leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, everybody. Happy tying. Yeah, sure, you betcha. Tight lines, peace.